He is the best forward in the country, there's no doubt about that. They are the words of former Botafogo coach Artur Jorge. That was quoted after his first call-up to the Brazilian national team back in October 2024, where he scored on his debut against Chile. He's had an interesting career path so far, going over to the Middle East for 4 years and returning home to Botafogo, where he became a star, most recently starring on the world stage at the Club World Cup. So this begs the question, why have Nottingham Forest signed Igor Jesus? Having joined the academy of Brazilian side Curitiba, he would play 24 times and score 3 goals to help Curitiba achieve promotion to the Serie A. He was only 18 when he won that promotion and therefore struggled to make an impact at the top level initially. So he made quite the bold decision to leave Brazil, his home country, and join UAE side Shabab Al Ahly. He'd spent 4 years in the Middle East from 2020 to 2024, where he'd win a number of trophies: the UAE Pro League, the UAE League Cup, and 2 UAE Super Cups, also scoring 46 goals in 92 games. The problem with that though is a lot of people from that could suggest that, well, he can't be that good if he was playing in the UAE League for 4 years, he's not really tested himself. Well, that's why he proved people wrong, because he returned to Brazil after 4 years to join quite a big side over there, Botafogo. He joined Botafogo for 8.5 million, and this is something that was always on the cards because Botafogo's sporting director, Alessandro Brito, I really hope I'm saying these names correctly, by the way, I do apologise if I am not. Their sporting director scouted Jesus from a young age, and when he became Botafogo's sporting director in 2022, he had his clear sights on bringing him to the club. And that would happen in July 2024, so basically a year to the day he leaves Botafogo, but we'll get onto that in a moment. During his year at Botafogo, he'd win the Brazilian Serie A and the Copa Libertadores. And within 3 months of him joining Botafogo and only 19 games, he'd make his senior debut for the Brazilian national team, one of the most iconic national teams in the world. And he'd score in his debut against Chile in a 2-1 World Cup qualifying win. He's gone on to make a further 3 caps since then. Now, because of his success at Botafogo and being a Brazilian international, he was quickly targeted by a number of European clubs, one of them being Nottingham Forest. Apparently, we put in a £30 million bid for him in the January window. This is according to The Athletic. But Jesus opted to turn that down. He wanted to stay at the club at least until the end of the season, and also because he participates in the Club World Cup. And the Club World Cup is where we've really seen him make a name for himself, because he's done it on the world stage. No matter what you think of the Club World Cup, it is a world event. There's so many clubs involved from around the world, so he's got an opportunity to test himself against Europe and South American opposition. In 4 games in the Club World Cup, he'd scored 2 goals for Botafogo, 1 against Seattle Sounders and 1 against the European champions only 20 days prior in PSG. Tim Vicky, a South American football expert, described him as a modern-day Drogba off the back of his performance against PSG, where he'd scored the only goal in what would be an iconic win, a South American champion beating a European champion. But what's probably most interesting to us Forest fans is how he is as a player, and therefore how he can help us, how he fits into the team. Well, that PSG game is particularly interesting because Botafogo only had 25.3% of the ball. That's barely anything at all, and yet they won that game. What's particularly interesting about Jesus though in that game is, well, he's a striker. If a team's only got that much possession, he surely didn't get any of the ball besides his 1 goal out of the blue. Yet he had the 3rd most touches in that game. And he's a striker in a team with 25% of the ball. So this suggests to us that he is extremely good at holding up the ball, coming deep, dropping back and getting involved. He doesn't just stay up top with no service, and therefore he just doesn't really have much of an impact. That's a really encouraging thing. You think about how Forest play, we like to not have much of the ball. well, this should surely suit Jesus down to the ground then. We don't keep much of the ball, which can often be a problem for us sometimes, because then when we do have possession, we're left a bit clueless, as we saw quite a bit at the end of last season. Now, in no way, shape or form am I going to say that Jesus and Chris Wood are similar, because I think they're very, very different players really. But there are a few similarities. Chris Wood is great at holding the ball up. He likes to drop back and get involved. He's there at the right place, right time. He's good with his head. This is all of what Jesus is. He's got an incredibly good record when it comes to headers. He won 6 of the 7 aerial duels in their game against Seattle Sounders at the Club World Cup, a game in which he also scored a header too. And he's only 5'10", and he's so effective in the air. So all evidence suggests that he is maybe a better version of Chris Wood. I don't want to disrespect the GOAT. That's probably too far actually, isn't it? But I hope you understand what I mean by that. Chris Wood is obviously getting on now, as great as he is, and he still has a big role to play at Forest next season. We've got to consider that we need to give him support. Last season, Wood had no support because Taiwo just couldn't do it. He wasn't available most of the time. In Taiwo, he had a very big physical presence that charged defenders on his day, at his best, that is. Jesus isn't really that. He is definitely a strong player. But I think Jesus is probably more like Chris Wood than he is Taiwo. And that's probably a good thing. And you think about the players that are around him as well, behind the team. You think about how he could link up with an Alanga, a Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White behind. I can easily see Gibbs White and Jesus working well together, Elliot Anderson, Dominguez, all these players that are very creative. I just think this could be such a good transfer if it works, because this video could be a huge jinx, I know that, but all evidence suggests, I've said that too many times, this could work really well, and I really hope it does. Forest have been crying out for a striker for, well, I think a few years. I mean, I don't even remember the last time I think we were completely and utterly stocked at striker, going back years. But in the Premier League, we've needed one since the second season, definitely. And it does look extremely close to happening. In fact, plenty of people are saying it is basically a done deal. It's just a case of the Club World Cup finishing. And obviously Botafogo are out of it now, so that's going to speed up everything. He's on now a holiday off the back of that Club World Cup. He's already had his medical, apparently, in America. So yeah, it's got to be extremely close to happening now. I think we're just waiting for confirmation, but this could be a steal. Apparently only 10 million, and obviously it was meant to be a triple deal. Obviously Yarcunya and Cabano coming in too. That might still happen, but it looks like 10 million of that 35 million is on Jesus. So I've got to say, very excited by this potential deal, and I really hope it pulls off, because I've made this video, and I hope he even joins, to be honest, because I made this video. But I just thought there was so much to talk about when it comes to how he could fit into this team, and the fact that he's had a really interesting career so far. I hope this video has helped you understand a bit more about what Nottingham Forest are going to get going into this season. If you have enjoyed it, then please hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new. Let me know if you want more stuff like this coming up over the summer and into next season. And thank you for watching. Up the Rads.